So we got a lot of Montreal Canadiens comments to go out there and not really dissect. I don't want to use that verb. It doesn't feel like one of those days where we need to explore the intricate details. Because, of course, today was end-of-season presser day, so we had a lot of comments made by people in the Canadiens organization, which gives us a lot of content to go out there and talk about. So, let's start out with the biggest piece of news that actually wasn't any commentary from somebody about the team or whatever. This was an award announcement. Martin St. Louis was named a finalist for the Jack Adams Award today, along with Spencer Carberry of the Washington Capitals, so the two head coach Jack Adams finalists going head-to-head in the playoffs. That's great to see. And Scott Arniel of the Winnipeg Jets system, so the President's Trophy leading head coach, ended up getting the nomination as well. Obviously, the Coach of the Year, Jack Adams Award, usually goes to the coach that a lot of people are most surprised about. You don't necessarily have to be the guy that dominates and wins all the top trophies to get the award, but if you're a first-year coach, this is your first time, nobody thought that your team was going to do well, and you ended up doing well, like Marty St. Louis, the Habs made the playoffs. Nobody expected that. So, of course, St. Louis is going to get the Jack Adams nomination. Nice to see him getting his dues. But now we have a bunch of other commentary to go over from the Canadiens. Let's start out with Ivan Demidov. This is a pretty interesting one because Patrik Laine shouts out Ivan Demidov as Demigod in his end-of-season presser. So that seems to be the nickname here for Demidov, Demigod. I'm just going to let that sink in for a little bit. Yeah, I know, it's not really anything that's too important, but I wanted to talk about it because now we have the right to go out there and refer to Ivan Demidov as Mr. Demigod himself, especially when you think about his hockey skill. Yeah, I think that's an appropriate nickname. Speaking about that Patrik Laine, though, he ended up confirming what his injury status was in this series against the Capitals. He says he broke his finger in game number 2. So, not able to shoot, unfortunately. Take a look at this. I broke my finger in the second game, I couldn't really hold my stick, and shooting is what I do. I was disappointed. Turns out the hand injury kept him out of games 3, 4, and 5, and this seems to have really sparked some more commentary on Laine throughout the fan base, because he also went out there and said this, that my knee feels good. It was a good decision to not go through the knee surgery process. No surgery is needed after this season also. Patrik Laine on the status of his knee after a preseason injury almost robbed him of the 24-25 season. A lot of folks have been using this as an opportunity to dunk on Laine, and I'm not surprised, just considering the reputation and the status that he had over the past few weeks here. A lot of folks saying, hey, like his knee is good? Why is he not moving then? Why is he still slow? Why does this guy dog it on every shift, even though his finger is broken? Like, you don't need your finger to skate fast, Patty Laine. No shot? Okay, I can understand that. And I think a lot of folks recognized towards the ending parts of the season, and especially in that Game 2 against Washington, that yeah, this guy's shot was nowhere to be found. This was a streaky player who is coming off of a really unfortunate injury that started off the year, that sidelined him for 30 games of the year, and that we, as fans, have not seen the full capacity out of. We did not see the best out of Patrik Laine in 24-25. In the limited sample he did play, he did have a heck of a lot of goals, and he was still producing at a really strong rate, so much so that if he had played 82 games and he continued producing at that same rate, he probably would have gotten, what was it, like 30, 35 goals? He was on pace for a pretty reasonably high amount, so for Laine, the best is really yet to come. If you believe in that sort of thing, if you think that he still has more to give, the only question is, are you actually going to get that? If his finger is banged up and his knee is fine, why is he slow? So, obviously, this has just opened the door to more discourse surrounding Laine and what his future holds in the Montreal system. A lot of folks asking about a buyout, this and that, and everybody arguing, oh, he's benched, oh, he's hurt, oh, he's this, oh, he's that. He's making $8.7 million, so of course he's going to be greeted with a bunch of conversation around him. He's making the most money on the team for anybody not named Carey Price, so that obviously is a point of contention when one of your top paid players is hurt and or not playing well and or not moving and or just not great. Only Price is making more money per year than Patrik Laine. Now, speaking about money, speaking about contracts, let's go out there and read what Lane Hutson said today in the end-of-season presser on potentially signing his contract extension this summer. I hope so. It's a special place to play. Having our young core and having guys who are still coming up, I think it's only going to get younger from here. We're just excited about what the future is going to hold. And that is a really nice comment. Lane Hutson, of course, expressing a desire to re-sign with the Montreal Canadiens this offseason. The only question is, what does he make? Does he make the $7-point-something million that some of the other top-paid Habs are making? Does he get more than that? Is Nick Suzuki the upper ceiling? Are Kent Hughes and co. going to go out there and say, hey, Lane, you're great, you're so good, but we're not going to give you more than Nick Suzuki? The old Nick Lindstrom rule. Obviously, we mentioned that there is one player on the team that has broken that already, but Patrik Laine wasn't signed by the Habs. He was acquired in a trade with that contract already on him. So, Lane Hutson has a chance to either stick within the range of the same top Habs stars on this team or break the bank. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if either one gets explored here. If he does break the bank, then I wouldn't be too upset, honestly. He kind of deserves it. He's that good, and he's going to have that much of an impact on the Montreal Canadiens, much more than a Patrik Laine. So if Laine is making 8-7, there is a chance that Lane Hutson realistically asks for more than that. But then again, there also is that loyalty and that paying tribute to what is already there, and Nick Suzuki's making a dollar amount that other Canadiens guys have not afforded to get more than, so who knows if Lane Hutson is going to fall into that same territory. Let's talk about one of these other guys that is making less money than Nick Suzuki. It is Juraj Slafkovsky, whose contract extension sees him making just a shade underneath Nick. He said this today on the season: I took a step up and I learned a lot during the year. I went through lots of ups and downs and tried to figure out my game. I think towards the end of the season it was a little better. Maybe it would be nice if next season I start in October, not February. So Slafkovsky is going out there and commenting on his own personal, how do I say this? His inconsistency. There you go. And it's good self-awareness from the young Canadiens forward. Obviously, we recognize that he does need to be better for most of the year instead of waking up in the latter half of the season. This has been a problem that we had seen out of Slafkovsky even last year, where he was not really all too great to start things off, but eventually things started to go his way, and that is when he really became the monster that we saw him in the playoffs and throughout certain parts of the last few games here. So, obviously for Juraj Slafkovsky, there is more improvement to be made in the consistency department, but we know that when he is at his best, oh boy, this guy is an absolute game-breaking, game-changing stud. And I'm super interested in seeing what kind of preparation he'll take in order to get those results earlier on in October of next season. Because if Nick Suzuki is producing in October, if Cole Caulfield is producing in October, if Demidov comes in here and he's doing his thing in October, there is a pretty good chance that the Montreal Canadiens get off to a hot start, and that's all you need, honestly, a hot start. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking about. Hey, didn't the Canadiens have a hot start like 10 years ago and they ended up missing the playoffs after having what was a crazy good run? Yeah, that did happen, and I don't want to discredit that did happen because, yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. But let's hope that if the Canadiens are able to get off to a hot start this upcoming season, if Slafkovsky is able to do that, if Demidov, Laine, and everybody else, then hopefully that win streak does not mean nothing at the end of the year. But let me know your thoughts either way in the comment section below about some of these Habs comments, from Laine to Lane Hutson to Slafkovsky and MSL getting himself that Jack Adams nomination. I hope you enjoyed this British Rolls 99, and bye.